Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our Swansea City career mode here. It's been a while since I've been able to post, and I'm not going to say we're back on a normal schedule because school's crazy right now, work's crazy right now, the holidays are coming up, so a lot of things going on outside of YouTube. So I'm trying to get this video up. I have 5 episodes of this series already pre-recorded because one day I just sat down and recorded 5 episodes trying to get through the transfer window as fast as possible. So all of that's recorded. We're finally going to start getting some Americans in. I will say this, we will have a full usable American squad by the end of it. Whether or not we actually want to use a full American squad is going to be debatable because we don't get that many strong players in, but we're definitely building for the future, and it is exciting to see. So but until we get there, we still have a little bit longer to go in the Premier League before we get to the halfway point. Here we're going up against Watford, and we get a pretty early on goal here in the 19th minute. Played pretty well to start off the game. Wasn't really playing as well as I was prior to the break that I took in between the series. The day that I played, when I started off, I didn't quite feel right playing the game, and this was like right after the update, the patch had come out, and so the style of gameplay changed. If you look at the patch notes, they changed the way the AI attack. It makes it more difficult, it makes it more realistic. They change the way they attack, and it's not readable every time. Before, regardless of what difficulty you played on, if you played on it long enough, you start to understand the tendencies of the opponent, and it was kind of the same regardless of what team that you played against. So you could always really tell how they were playing and how they were attacking, and you could always manage to defend against it, and that's why a lot of people were able to get out of games without really ever conceding goals on Legendary. They just had to score themselves. But with the update, they definitely know how to score better. They read you better and adjust to how you play and then attack from there. So it definitely makes it more difficult. It's an exciting challenge for me. Like I said, I've been playing on Legendary for a while. I'm just comfortable with it. I know how the computer plays, and I've been playing on Legendary as long as I know, at least. So here in the second half, I actually managed to grab a second goal and go 2-1 up against us. So again, just in a weird spot, mainly because we were top of the league at this point, because we had a really good start to the season. And honestly, I was looking at the schedule, and I think I even said it in the video, as long as we were able to beat, I think we had Man U and Tottenham coming up in the second half of the season, as long as we can beat those two, we should be top of the table, because I shouldn't be losing to any of these other teams. But then the patch happened. I have no clue how to play against the computer. It's much more difficult to play. It's much more realistic to play. So it's going to be a challenge for us, but I still think that we shouldn't be losing to anybody in the Premier League. Up until that Man U Tottenham game, and those two should give us trouble. I'm obviously leaving the rest of the teams out because we have already played them. So the second half of the season will be a different challenge, because at that point I will be trying to get as many Americans into the team as possible. But until then, we're still playing with the squad that we have, just trying to move forward, trying to do what we can. But like I said, I'm really excited. I was so excited to get through to the transfer window. I didn't even care that this game was 2-2. You know, honestly, I could have just recorded one episode, turned it off, and just dealt with it another day, or end this video, you know what I mean, and then go in and play some offline outside of this career mode, maybe do another career mode to adjust to it. But I just really wanted to get to the transfer window. You know, this is what I love about career mode, is building teams, doing what I can. So but I do like the realistic part of it in terms of playing that first half of the season without changing the lineup. So we want to go ahead and do that, and just try to do as much as we could with the team given to us before we started actually playing with an American side. So going up against Sunderland, this is actually going to be in the EFL Cup, which is exciting to play in. Obviously, it happened this past weekend, or week, I guess. It was kind of a midweek fixture for Man U and weekend fixtures for everyone else. Arsenal managed to grab their win against Reading. Man U beat Man City, which was good for them. Chelsea, I believe, lost to West Ham. Newcastle put up like 6 goals or something, so they played incredibly well. I think DeAndre Yedlin also scored in that game. Bundesliga-wise, Americans are scoring all over the place, so it just has me excited to get these players in the squad. And then whenever I'm playing the series, of course, I'm going to end up conceding to a deflection goal, putting it into the back of the net, sending my keeper in the wrong direction, and we go 1-0 down to Sunderland in the EFL Cup. So, bad start to the Cup. I really wasn't too worried about the Cup. It's not something I'm focused on. The board wants me to do really well in the Emirates FA Cup, but they didn't really have anything to say about the EFL Cup, which they never do. It's really just win one of the 2 cups. It doesn't matter which one you win, but I'll put a little bit more focus on the FA Cup whenever I feel more comfortable with the size of my squad. Not to say that the players we have now in the second team are kind of not that strong, but whenever I get the Americans in, when it comes to the FA Cup, I'm honestly probably going to play a full American squad every game for the Cups, and we're just going to push forward that way. Here we end up conceding a second goal and going down 0-2. Jack Rodwell is able to grab them a goal. So going into the second half, it's really going to be everything to play for us. We have to make some sort of comeback somewhere if we have any chance in coming back in this game. So, like I said, not too worried about the Cup this time around. Going to put a lot more focus into the FA Cup with the American players. Going to try to build them up as much as possible. You know, when I started off the season, I've been training a lot of my American youngsters that I've been getting in the youth academy. But once I actually start getting players in, obviously I'm going to have a fair few amount of 20-year-olds, 20 to 24-year-olds, even maybe an 18-year-old in there, Jordan Morris, you know, players like that. We're definitely going to focus on their training, at least the ones that are going to be able to get over 80 rated based on their overall potential. And then we'll start focusing again a little bit more on our youth academy, getting them as high up as possible, because we will obviously be working with the U.S. men's national team at some point. So we want to make sure we get that going as well and make sure we have as strong of a team as possible come time for the World Cup. We should qualify for pretty easily, but I do want to make sure here in, I guess it would be 4 years, we have as strong of a team as possible. So hopefully, like I said, we can get that going for sure. This game against Sunderland, we managed to grab 1 goal back, brought it back to 1-2, but couldn't get anything going for the rest of the game. I just couldn't find my chances. The team I played with wasn't all that great. Every time I play with Fernando Llorente, he ends up in the wrong position, and he drops back to center mid a little bit too easy. I just don't think he's comfortable in that center forward position, so he gets confused by the instructions and actually ends up coming too far back when it says you can play the midfield or play like a midfielder. So he ends up switching position with a midfielder every time. So I just need to learn to not play that formation. When I have Fernando Llorente, I need to switch it up to a 4-4-1-1 and then end up throwing like Sigurdsson behind him at the center forward position and just leave him as striker and make sure he stays forward, because he comes back far too much and it puts us in really bad positions. So Key's able to grab a goal, and so is Jack Rodwell and Kirchhoff, losing the game 2-1. Really disappointing, especially to concede both of those goals so early on in the game. But moving forward out of the EFL Cup, here's just a few highlights. I left those in at the end of the game just because it kind of tells a good story and what happened in this game and all the crap that actually occurred for me to lose this game. But again, it is what it is. We weren't too focused on the Cup anyways. I played a pretty weak side. All the focus is on the Premier League for us. So at this point we have an 82 rating, I believe, as a manager, but it probably will go down because of this game and obviously drawing with Watford in the first game. So going into the Stoke City game, we wanted to make sure that we could put in a pretty good performance there. Playing away at Stoke, obviously everybody knows the jokes behind that, but in real honesty, and for whatever reason it translates into FIFA too, playing against Stoke away from home is incredibly difficult. For whatever reason, and it's always been my problem, if I do an Arsenal career mode, Swansea career mode, Leicester, whatever, any of the teams I've ever done, I've always had a problem playing against Stoke City at home, whenever they're at home. So going into this game, I played a decently strong lineup, had a couple players that were a little tired, but I definitely wanted to put my best foot forward. We do still have a few players that are injured and not available for the team, so we're trying to just kind of deal with it any way we can. So Fair's going to stay in the lineup. Key's going to stay in the lineup. Everything's fine there. We still haven't lost a game yet. Only team in the league did not lose a game. Man City is above us by 1 point. City in second place over Arsenal. Definitely a good feeling for me as a manager, knowing that we're still in the top 4 and let alone the top 2. So the one thing I haven't talked about yet, I haven't actually uploaded a Premier League game since the update happened. So just to touch on it a little bit, I am really happy with the updates that they made for the presentation for Premier League games. It makes it look a lot better. It makes it look a lot more authentic. I wish they would do it for all the leagues, but I know they only have the rights to the Premier League fully. So it is what it is. One day we'll get to that point with the Bundesliga and La Liga, I'm sure. But it definitely just adds to the authentication feel of the Premier League, and I love everything about it. So we managed to grab an early goal here. Shaqiri went for the hand of God block right there, but didn't end up getting a touch on it, and it went to the back of the net after a deflection. And Montero was able to grab himself a goal. So Baston hurt himself pretty early on in this game, and I think it was like a bruised shoulder or something. But I didn't take him out because he was playing fine. He only looked hurt whenever he stood still for like longer than 30 seconds. So I figured if I just leave him in the game, he'll probably be fine. If we end up losing him at the end of the game, it is what it is. But I don't think it was going to be an injury that was really going to make him more injured if he kept playing, as long as he, like I said, didn't hit his shoulder or anything like that. So Angel Rangel also played in this game, so it was good to get him minutes. He hasn't played in a while. Wanted to make sure he got in the team while some of our other players are still tired. But to start off the second half, Baston's still injured. I believe at this point he's actually off the pitch. He may still be on, I can't remember. But here in the 70th minute, they just knocked the ball across the face of the goal, and they were able to slot it away into that corner. So they end up grabbing the goal. It ends up being 1-1 at this point, and I'm like, okay, I can't buy a win today. And like I said, honestly, I probably should have just stopped playing, but I wanted to get to the transfer window so badly. So if these next couple videos aren't wins and just great wins here and there, and like it was before the update happened, just bear with me. I do get a whole grip of how I need to play against the computer, and things start working out a little bit more for me. Unluckily, we just ended up passing the ball offside there in the closing minutes of the game, and this game is going to end in a 1-1 draw. So we do drop more points, but we are still in the top 4. Our manager rating is going to fall a little bit, but nothing too crazy. We're still doing well in the league, like I said, so I'm not too worried about the position that we're in at this point. Like I said, we're going to have the transfer window coming up soon. All the transfers have been made, so don't worry though. I did make really good signings, especially for American-wise. We went for a lot of youth, but a little bit of I guess leadership as well in some of the players. So I'm excited for you guys to see the players that I end up bringing in. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you guys are excited to see this series return, I guess you could say, and come back. But I hope you guys did enjoy. Like I said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next one, I will see you guys later. A lot of ums, a lot of randoms. We're going to file.